You came from heaven to earth to show the way.
Claiming to be wise, they became fools. The fear of God. A repeating theme throughout Romans 1 is wisdom and foolishness, seen for the first time in verse 14 and verse 22. Paul explains that although people know God, they do not fear Him, making them foolish. So here, in Romans 1, verse 21 to 23, it says, "For although they knew God, they did not honor Him as God or give thanks to Him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools, and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal men and birds and animals and creeping things." Which links to Proverbs 9 verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. So with all this information that we have gathered, we learn that a lack of the fear of God compromises wisdom, which allows foolishness to come in. Okay, so why is foolishness so important then? Well, foolishness is so important because it can lead to rebellion. Okay, so here in Romans 1 verse 32, it says, "Though they know God's righteous decree that those who practice such things deserve to die, they not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them." So rebellion is a byproduct of a lack of the fear of God. And a lack of the fear of God breeds foolishness. Okay, we're getting there. So while reading this verse 32, especially the part where it says they not only do them but give approval to those who practice them, my mind went to Aaron and the golden calf and how the Israelites, although they knew God, like they have witnessed God performing all these miracles, performing the plague. They have witnessed God splitting the Red Sea so till they could escape from the Egyptians, but they still made the golden calf. And as if that wasn't bad enough, Aaron, who was the priest consecrated for the service of God, gathered the gold, he melted the gold to create the golden calf, which matches perfectly with this verse. So I just laid there as an example is the picture, the image at the top, and below that's the image of Moses telling Pharaoh to let the people go, but obviously Pharaoh's refusing to do so. And the interesting thing about Pharaoh is that God would do something, he would respond, he would seemed like he repented, he would ask God for forgiveness, and he said that he would let the Israelites go, but eventually he would change his mind and not let them go. That is clearly how a man that does not fear God acts. He acts like Pharaoh. So Pharaoh is a perfect example of a man who did not fear God. Delusion. Okay, Genesis 3 verse 6. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was a delight to the eyes. Okay, Proverbs 12 verse 5. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Okay, are you catching it? So essentially, what these scriptures are saying is that a foolish person's judgment is clouded because they cannot longer distinguish between wrong and right. In fact, wrong can become right in order to justify themselves. So you can see the clear link where it says, so when the woman saw that the tree was good, remember, this was the same tree that she was so, reluctant to be around. She was hostile about the tree. Then the serpent asked, "Is it true?" She was like, "No, no, no, no. God said we should not touch it. We should not even look at it." But suddenly, she saw that it was good and that it was a delight to the eyes. And what does the Bible say about a fool? That the way of a fool is right in his own eyes. So, delusion is a component of foolishness. The wisdom of God. Okay, so in Proverbs 12, verse 5, we talked about how a fool is right in his own eyes. But we also talked about, but the verse also says, yes, the verse also talks about how a wise man listens to advice. Okay, so let's go below. Proverbs 3, verse 6. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Okay, are you listening? Okay, let's go below. Romans 1, verse 28. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. Let me give you a moment. Read it. Are you seeing it? Are you catching it? A wise man listens to advice. Proverbs 3, verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Straight your paths. Romans 1, verse 28. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind. I just think that is very, very, very cool what is happening here. Like how scripture is corroborating itself and how there is real life application to this. Right, so, and also another thing that I find very interesting is that in Proverbs 3 verse 6, right? The chapter 3 verse 6 is the same as Genesis 3 verse 6. Like, are you seeing the connection? Remember, Genesis 3 verse 6, it said that the woman saw that the tree was good, right? But here in Proverbs 3 verse 6, it says, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your path. So can you see the connection? Can you see the link? Right, so I don't think it's coincidental. I think it has a purpose. So you're welcome to tell me your thoughts on that. What you think of this, of the connection, and do your own study on that. But I think it's very interesting. Yes, so foolishness is a choice. One can delude themselves into believing that their actions are somehow justified by seeing wrong as right, or be humble enough to acknowledge that they need help. Don't be like Adam who blamed Eve, or Eve who blamed the serpent to justify themselves, but be willing to take correction. And so that's Romans 1. Claiming to be wise, they became fools. So that's the end of this episode. Now you're welcome to tell me all your thoughts, your findings, what you find interesting, and I pray that God blesses you. And see you next time. Shalom.